Hartford. Welcome to another edition of Hartford Community Leaders. Got a wonderful program for you today. We ask you to sit back, relax, join us. 1 hour of good programming. Today, we're going to be talking about numerous subjects. We'll be talking about universal health care. Also, we'll be talking about equal rights for all in America and renewable energy. Today, talking with us is Tom McCormick, one of our upcoming senator-elects. And he's here with us on today to discuss these topics and more. And today we're going to be also discussing what's happening right here in Hartford. There's a lot of things happening. We know today there is a primary. You need to go out today and vote for the one that you think that is right for the office. If you had, I know they sent out a lot of distribution of paperwork in offices, so you need to review each and every one of them and decide on who you will vote for. Your vote counts in Hartford, and so if you want the things to continue the same way it's been for years and years, or if you want to do something new, you want to see something new, you want change to happen right here in Hartford, hey, you need to go out and vote for the primary on today. Polls are open, and so you need to go out and vote. I know I received at least 3 or 4 different calls today to go out and to assist with the campaigns, but I decided that, hey, you out there is so very important enough that I don't need to go out there and assist with the campaigns. You are so very important out there as viewers to let you know what's going on in and around our community. So, take note of the things that are happening on today. I want to take this opportunity to thank our staffing. I forgot to do that. Trish Nelson, who is out polling with the campaigns and assisting with the campaigns, who is our chief engineer on today. But we have Brother Mondo. He's stepping in, and he's our chief engineer for the day. And Mike, who's our cable cast, and he does everything, a little bit of everything. And we have our co-host, Lakia Siobhan Leitner, is here today to bless us. One of the things that I would like to talk about today is the current news and with the Hartford police officer and the statement that he made. I thought as a community leader that I should take the step to work with our community group to develop a statement. We've seen a few Hartford residents step up to the plate to make statements, and then till after the fact, and so we want to do that, and so we released a statement. I believe it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, regarding what we thought about that whole situation. And I sent it on Facebook. It's on Hartford Community Leaders page. It's on my page. It's on the entire network of Facebook. I made the statement from the group, and that we are outraged at what's happening with the fact that this police officer made this statement. There's too many lives that have been lost by police killings in our communities. And so what we want to do is we want to take a stand, and we want to ensure that this doesn't happen in our community. I want to take the opportunity to thank the chief of police, who reached out to me with open arms and stated that a thorough investigation will happen when it comes down to this officer. I want to thank the City Hall officials for reaching out to me on yesterday and talking with me after I made the statement on yesterday, that they are definitely investigating this case, and we want to make the community whole and to know that justice is going to happen when it comes down to this case. And we want you to know that we're doing everything we can to fight for our community. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to get whatever we need to get done. You need to take the first step and take ownership of your community. I'm going to say that again. You need to take the first step and take ownership of your community in order to make things happen. Now, I was there at City Hall to make the statement, and I seen numerous different groups there making their statement, making their plea to the council what's needed in our city. These are the things that we need when they have the public forums to express what's needed, and not only to express what's needed, present them with the paperwork. Now, what I did is I took that statement that I made and I gave it to every one of those individual council people that was there at the council. And so this is what you have to do. If you want a change in your community, you have to document everything. Make sure that it's legible documentation, nice written. There's places where you can go to get it written for you if you don't know how to type, or if you don't know how to word it in the right way. Of course, we got our public relations person here who took the opportunity to take and write the statement for us. But formulate it on paper and make sure that they follow up. Make sure you follow up to the situation that occurs in your community. Numerous of topics that was discussed beside the statement of the officer was the housing. There are numerous people from the storm, from the Puerto Rico storm. It was last year, and they are housed in their families. They're housed in the Red Roof Inn, and what they were saying is that, and these are in the council notes about. They stated they did a press conference and stated that they would help these individuals, but no help was to be seen. Whether housing, whether health care, nothing was seen. They took those individuals and placed them in the hotel for 2 to 3 months, and then told them that they have to get out of the hotel. So that was one case that struck my attention. The next case was talking about the diversity, and we're going to talk about equal rights for all people in America. The diversity in the Keeney Park. There was $5.8 million allocated to the budget of Keeney Park, and they renovated the entire Keeney Park golf course to PGA status, and nothing was given back to the community. They have the nice tavern restaurant there, but here's the thing: if you look on the website of the golf page, and you see the fees, the astronomical fees that they have to play golf and to rent a cart, and also, for food, nice steak dinners, nice lobster dinners, and things like that. If a person doesn't work in the community, how can they afford something like that? Is it for the community, or isn't it? Is it given back to the community? What about the youth in our city? Are they getting something back when it comes down to our community in a place for the community? That's something that was discussed also at the meeting. Also, they were discussing about a trash pickup in our city. How come there is so much trash in our city? I mean, from the north end to the south end. what is being done with all this trash on the streets. The grass is too high, and I mean it's haven't been mowed. And somebody said that they mow it once a month or twice a month. They mow it or whenever, once every 3 months or once every 6 months. They mow the grass in our cities. What about the potholes that they have, the trash, and you talking about furniture? You talking about garbage, furniture all over our city. It's like a city dump. What's going on with our city? And we need to find out where's the money going, who's got the money in their pocket, and if so, they got the money in their pocket, release it right now. Because it's time that we need to get things done. And let's stop building all these projects in our city. Stop investing all this money into these projects, and things are not being done for the common people, for the common citizens of Hartford. Hey, Hartford, you need to, because we are taxpayers, you need to make that known at City Hall at that the second Monday of the month, where they hold the public forum. You need to get together with your team in the community, your church group. You need to get with your individual and make a statement and let that council know, because it's something not clicking when it's something not ticking and clicking when it comes down to common sense for our city to make things happen. If I guarantee you, we can get concerned citizens in our community that care about our surroundings. You can get 50 to 100 concerned citizens in our city that's concerned about our community, and we can get those things done that with the help of trucks, with the help of lawnmowers, with the help of places where we can dump that garbage, and to get things done. We can get things done if we invest back into our community for those housing, for those people that was misplaced from that storm from Puerto Rico. We can do that. You just take 100 people and you get 100 people to give $100. All right? And here we got $5.8 million, and we don't know what to do with the money, and we just spend it frivolously on just any old thing, and nothing is being given back to the community. What in the heck is wrong? Am I stupid or am I not stupid? Come on now. All right, we got Tom. He's running. We got Tom McCormick. We got Tom McCormick here, who's running for senator. Maybe he's going to help us out here. Welcome to the program, Tom. We're going to get right into it. These issues. Talking about Hartford and Hartford's problems. What can we do to resolve some of these things?
Well, you talked about where does the money go. I have been out talking to a lot of people lately around Greater Hartford, and I'm finding that people are wondering why there always seems to be so much concrete or so much tar or so much money for buildings.
Right.
It seems.
Yeah, that's what I'm
but not
saying.
so much money going directly into like kids' education.
Right.
It seems, and also people are wondering what exactly are the salaries of people, and we don't really have a really good handle on it. Are people getting a fair wage that are working for the cities and the towns, or are they kind of getting like self-invested and getting promoted beyond what's really needed for someone to do that kind of job they're doing? Because sometimes you get longevity pay, but it doesn't mean you're a better worker.
Right.
You've just been doing it longer.
Right.
One thing that struck me a lot, I was in the park a couple of Monday nights at the Jazz Festival, and people are really wondering what is going on with all this money going to the Pentagon, for instance. People don't think of that right off, but if you talk to people, it's like over $700 billion for war and to build war machines and to train people to go to war. And that's money that's not going into health, education, and welfare. I mean, I think President Eisenhower a long time ago, before my time practically said, this self-interest in war is growing and growing. And you just got these corporations and the generals that get together and they they lobby each other, and one time they're in the Pentagon, then they're in the private defense contractors, then they're in government, and they're all kind of like the swamp, you know, and they're that's where the money's getting.
You're right.
And it's like, I think something like, listening to one economist the other day, something like 63% of all the federal money that's not going to something that has to, like Social Security or debt, goes towards war. And it's not like we're defending ourselves, because no one's attacking us.
Right.
No one's attacking us. But we act like there's enemies everywhere. And we're about to get pounced on when no, it's just not.
And then every few years, they take the military equipment and they refurbish it and then sell it to China or Japan or wherever they sell it to.
Wow.
It's a revolving circle when it comes down to it. So that money that they spent into those militarized equipment, you know what I'm saying, the value is more, you know, than they're selling it for. And so we're losing money when it comes down to that.
Yeah. Oh, listen to this. Okay. Now, Iran is supposed to be one of these, quote, enemies. That's not my view, but the view out of the White House is Iran's an enemy. Well, Iran is flying F-14s. Well, guess who built the F-14s? The United States.
Right.
Who gave the F-14s to Iran? The United States. So then the argument is because they now have that level, we need a better level or more sophisticated plane to be able to fight them.
Right.
But then what we have now, you better bet 20 years from now, someone else is going to have what we have top of the line now, where the same people are saying, oh, we need something better because those people have that we sold them.
Right.
It goes round and round.
It's a revolving circle when it comes down to it.
Real crazy stuff. And I have to realize people around here in Connecticut, Hartford, a lot of people work defense jobs, okay? And a lot of people say, well, this is good. Relatively machinists, engineers, relatively good pay. But what they're not realizing is if you take that same amount of money and you put it elsewhere, like in health, education, and welfare, you get a much greater benefit. You're going to get better jobs and more jobs in those jobs.
Well, Tom, here's the thing. Let's get into that. You're talking about putting money into education. I mean, we're closing schools. We're not renovating schools. We're closing schools. And the ones that they're renovating are the major public schools that they're renovating. But they're basically closing schools, closing libraries. And you're talking about education. How come our city and our state and our government is not investing more into education?
Well, I think because we have a set of people. The word typically used is class of people that are very wealthy and they're very affluent, and they are investing in the education of their children.
Okay.
You know, I mean, the Renbrooks and the Loomises around here, people know where these schools are. Spending a lot of money on tuition for those kids. So some people are getting it, and some people aren't.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
And if you have money and you have political influence from your money,
okay,
you take care of yourself, and that's and it builds up over time.
And so when we look at the state of Hartford, what do you think we can do to try to boost our economy, or do you think it's going to happen now?
Well, one thing, Hartford kind of exists from a different age, in a way. We had Colt and Underwrite, the typewriter company, and a bunch of different industries. And Hartford grew up around those industries.
Right.
Now, those industries are gone. So does that mean, what's the reason for Hartford? You know, what's the organizing principle? You know, what is Hartford going to be? Is it going to have an identity? You know, it just can't be a baseball team.
Right.
You know, or these insurance buildings or these banks.
Yeah.
It has to be, well, why would people want to live in Hartford?
Right.
You know, is it culture? It's good. You know, we have So there's a center of culture. That's what cities are for.
Mm.
Is for people to be able to contact each other, get together, be innovate together. And maybe Hartford's that people are trying. I think on that Stilts building downtown,
Mhm.
they're trying to get a center there of innovation. So Hartford's just got to change.
Mhm.
And what I think we have to look at very carefully is when government money is going out the door, we got to make sure it's just not going towards the top and
Mhm.
helping people that already have it and it towards the top. Here's an
Right.
example. It's not Hartford, but the state. If you're out at UConn getting trained as a doctor or dentist, you're getting your education subsidized tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars per year.
Mhm.
But someone else comes out of Hartford, right? And they're just out of high school and they go to want to get money for some kind of tech ed. It's hard for them to get one of those tens.
Right.
But those
Right.
people that are already have a degree, they already got a college degree, they're out at UConn getting subsidized $30, $40, $50,000 a year in their
Wow.
education.
Wow.
So some people get it and
Right.
some people don't. And I think what we got to really address is the inequality and that kind of spread
Right.
about why some get so much and others get so little.
Yeah. So, hey, we got questions already out there concerning the communities in Hartford. It says maybe if we want more folks to shop Hartford, we should offer free parking. And it says here, we don't pay to shop at the malls, then why at downtown? You know, yeah, that is a good question about the parking generates revenue, and so that's one of the reasons why. Is that, am I right?
Well, yeah, and guess what? It generated a lot of revenue, whoever installed those and whoever manufactured them. Very fancy, very expensive
Mhm.
parking revenue meters.
Right, right.
Rather than the old quarter system.
Yeah.
So someone made some money there and made it more expensive for everyone else.
Yeah, and so parking in Hartford, it generates revenue, and so that's extra money for Hartford. So if Hartford takes away that extra revenue, then it's going to be tough. It's tough now. Hartford is squeezing. I mean, they got the thing by the handle and they're squeezing it. You know what I'm saying? You know how you have that little bit in the little tube and you're trying to get that squeezing out. That little bit. That's the way Hartford is. It's in a tight squeeze, and so we need to see where there needs to be accountability. And I said that in our police force, there need to be accountability. In City Hall, there need to be accountability. And we need to have, I'm telling you, we can get 100 concerned citizens out there, and we can run Hartford ourselves better than some of the people that are in position right now. We can run Hartford ourselves. And we can boost the economy ourselves by just sitting and planning. Why is it that we're counting on these political people that are going into the different areas in Hartford, in the in City Hall, I'm going to say, and they can't accomplish things on a basic level? Here's the thing. We had a tree that fell down in one of the parks there. Well, Elizabeth Park. Mm-hmm. And they knew that the tree was barren there. And the tree was, there's a dead tree there. And nothing was done. It just stayed up. So all of a sudden the tree fell on a little kid. Now they want to say, okay, the tree is down on the ground now. Now we got to go through all these policies and say, hey, do the community want this tree broken up, or do the community not want this tree broken up? Hey, God forbid, the tree is down on the ground now. It didn't hit the person, all right? So who's going to pay for that? The taxpayers are going to pay for that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, common sense. I mean, if you knew that the tree was dead at the beginning and it was up, why not cut it down and save yourself, from the taxpayers' money. Now, the taxpayers are gonna, deal with that, okay? And they're gonna say, "Oh, we're gonna raise taxes for this. We're gonna raise taxes for that." Connecticut is tax, 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 tax. Every time you look around, tax, tax, tax. Have you noticed the gas prices going up and down, up and down, up, 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 and then it go down, down, up, 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 up. Come on now. I mean, Tom, can you help us with this? I'm putting you in a tight seat today because I think that, and I know you're not on a city level, but you're going to be working for a Senate now. You're going to be in the federal government now, and so you're going to have to make sure that when they come and they ask for $5.8 million, it's going to have to be a better plan than what some of these people that are in these positions are requesting.
Well, you mentioned the gas. Well, a couple things going on with the gas going up. There's a lot of manipulation in the market and speculation in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And that's capitalism, and I guess I'm not going to do too much about that right off. But we can make sure there's alternatives to gasoline to drive the price down. Basic supply and demand. If there's less demand for this gas, the price should go down. One way to do that is, and it's something that's coming, is offshore wind.
Mm-hmm.
The price of this has come down very, very dramatically. Massachusetts, just a little bit north of us here, is a big project coming on that is not much more expensive than the price of natural gas to generate electricity.
Wow.
And if you look at the costs, what it costs to run a car on gasoline or electricity that can come from the big offshore wind farms, cheaper from the offshore wind to run a car than buying gasoline from Mobil and Exxon and Gulf and all the rest. Buying it from Saudi Arabia or Iran or United Arab Emirates can be cheaper. And so everyone's saying, well, that's good, let's get it, right? But there's a little problem, is that people entrenched in power in Washington and the lobbyists that represent those power are all invested in the gas and the oil. And they want to keep using that. And we have a president and an energy secretary strongly tied to the gas and oil industry. And also, so we got to insist, just insist to these people that we're not going to prop up oil and gas prices for the wealthy. And that's really what it is at the base of it. People have money invested. You got to really say, folks, you know what? You had your day. You made your money in gas and oil. Well, you know what? It's over now because solar, put on your roof, is cheaper. Now people realize that. You can lease solar panels to go on your roof. Cheaper electricity than buying it from any company.
Wow.
And so, and you got to insist on it because you got to insist. And you got to vote for people that, like myself, they're going to say, no.
Right.
It's a new day, and we got to insist on a new day.
Okay, I like that.
I like that. Me too.
All right. Hey, Hartford, what's on your mind, Hartford? Give us a call. What can we do to strengthen our economy? I want to take this out. This program is dedicated to you out there. This program is dedicated to you out there on today. We want to hear from you. What do you think can boost our economy? Some of the issues that we've been facing in our cities. What can we do to resolve some of these issues that we've been facing? Hey, type in your answer. We'll discuss that and give you antidote for what's going on. Type in your question. Type in your questions or answer to the question. Type it in, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear what's on your mind, Hartford. We talking about all these different subjects of equal rights, renewable energy. We talk about progressive income and wealth taxes. We're talking about military weaponry, universal health care. we're talking a little bit about everything today. Give us, make sure you type in your question if you're on Facebook. If you're here at the studio, you can type in your question and on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we're on the Hartford Community Leaders Facebook page.
Yeah. You mentioned about making sure if there's jobs. So there's going to be a lot of jobs for this offshore wind getting installed and building and installing and building. And also for the solar installations is to make sure you go to the mayor or state board of education and you insist that there be job training programs. Starting in the high schools and also in community colleges. Some community colleges now do have training programs, and they're starting a little bit better to make sure that the average person can go to community college. And go to community college, I think, should be pretty inexpensive, maybe even free, just like high school. The world's much more complicated than it used to be. There's a whole lot more to knowing how to get on in the world, and I don't think 4 years is enough anymore. So we have 4 years public education is just not enough. So we got to go at least to 6. So people can get that 4 years and then maybe get another 2 years in some kind of skilled job.
And
on top of it.
I think we're going to have Lakia chime in and get into the little fight with us. And get into it. What are your takes on that? And I know that you're one of education, and you work with a lot of young people and improving their education. So what can we do?
Well, I think that it takes people to, plan out things, but also you have to put action as well. You can't just be all about talk, to get things done, And you have to surround yourself with people who are on the same page as you as well. That's how you're going to resolve these issues that we have in America. That's my take on it.
And so do you think it's great that our young people can go into these colleges to educate themselves?
Yeah, because that's the only way you're going to get a good career. And you possibly be your own boss at the same time. Because, they're not going to want to pay you if you don't have the education, that you
How important is it to get that education and then also not just get an education just to get a good job, to be able to sustain, right?
Yes.
And to create your own?
Yeah, your own place of business, and also retirement. You want to have your own retirement fund, because these jobs are closing up. What you're going to do, And it's hard when you're older, 60 and over. They really don't want to hire you. And then you might want to take vacations or something. Where you gonna get the money for that? So you stuck in poverty if you don't put anything away.
Poverty is something that kind of relative, but because poverty in the United States, say poverty in Hartford is not poverty in Bangladesh or poverty in somewhere in northern India or someplace like that. And at a minimum, I think we got to make sure that we have a basic floor that we agree on, which basically says, you got your bed, you got a dresser, you got chairs, you got a thing, you got a refrigerator, you got at least a small TV.
Right. Well, I tell you, you go to Walmart, they got them huge,
Huge
64.
You're not in poverty if you don't have one of them. But in one way, you mentioned about progressive taxes and wealth taxes. One thing that's happens in any kind of society over time in a country, if you don't tax wealth, inheritance taxes, and we're not talking about taking, taxing $10 or $15 or $20,000 that mom or pop may have left to the kids. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars and even billions of dollars. What happens, that money gets concentrated more and more in a few hands, and essentially you get a new aristocracy. You get a new kings and princes and princesses to rule over us, basically. So we have to have redistribution, because why is it, let's say I have $1 billion, right? I have 3 kids, And if it's just me giving one of 3 kids, who are those 3 kids? Are they the best and brightest? Are they the ones that are necessarily going to take that $1 billion and do the best for the world? No, not necessarily.
That's right.
So we have to make sure that when we have accumulation of wealth, that it gets distributed to people that are going to use it well.
Right.
We just can't keep concentrated in families, tighter and tighter and tighter. And like I said, I'm not talking about little mom and passing on a little mom and pop shop. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars worth of type of wealth, like the Walmart wealth. 5 people own more than half the people in this country.
Wow.
So we'd be taxing that kind of wealth and redistributing it so people have the basics.
Yeah. Hey, hey Hartford, what's on your mind? Type in your question that you may have during this program segment. Type in your question that you may have so we can get this answered by Tom. All right, he's here. He's running for Senate, November election, and you need to, put him to the ringer. I tell you, because some of these things that we see in our communities and things that are not getting done in our communities, well, we're going to say, Tom, well, what's going on? So.
No, Donald, what's going on?
Tom's going. Tom. So Tom, he's running for Congress, and so you want to make sure, Tom, what's going on with this here.
We have another question. One thing you mentioned earlier is about the police shootings. That came up right at the top of the show.
Right.
The police are very ill-trained, in my opinion, and also not properly screened to become a police officer. You have to have a very certain psychological set about you and a very fine mental state in order to deal with a whole lot of situations. And I think we let some people become officers that we shouldn't. So that's a start. Now we have much greater screening, psychological and personality, before we let people become officers. And then there's the matter of training. Right now, officers are trained to shoot to the torso.
Right.
They are trained for kill shots.
Right.
They're not out in the range training to wing someone in the shoulder or shoot them in the knee or in the leg. And you see all kinds of situations. And Sean King of Woke Folks is a very good source. If you remember that name, Sean King of Woke Folks shows a lot of videos of these police shootings. And there's often ample opportunity for the officer, if indeed it's a situation where he's got to shoot someone. It doesn't need to be a fatal shot. It doesn't need to be a shot to the torso. There was one, maybe a lot of people saw it at a hotel out in Las Vegas. A guy is crawling on the floor towards the officer, and the officer kills him. I've seen another one where a guy was in a wheelchair.
Wow.
In a wheelchair. Officer walks around from back of him, walks around in front of him, and shoots him. These are essentially our murders, and we have to differentiate heat of the moment instance where an officer may actually feel in danger, because sometimes people are fighting the officers, and I think they should be able to protect their life in that situation. But we have other situations where I think some people they get it in their head that you listen to me or I'm going to blow you away. And that's the kind of language we heard the other day out of an officer.
Right.
Exactly. One thing we used to have in this country was the National Police Academy, and that got cut. We can't afford it. Well, what I think we can't afford is to have ill-trained police officers. So really, that would be one thing in Congress I'd push for, to bring back the National Police Academy for greater training. And also, I would stop shipping all this military equipment to the police.
Right.
It's making them like an occupying armed force rather than a community force. Or, community policemen don't need tanks.
That's right. Yeah, so Tom is running for Congress. I just want to apologize to Tom that he's running for Congress, and maybe you should run for Senate. But he's running for Congress, and so these are things that he's running on: universal health care, abolish nuclear weapons, progressive income and wealth taxes, equal rights for all in all things, renewable energy. One of the things, Tom, that you mentioned about the training, we need more accountability in the training, I think. If we have an officer that I can go to my job and I can do the training on my job and on a daily or weekly basis that they give me training. But if I don't have anybody that is managing to be accountable for me to make sure that my training is being presented on that job on a daily basis, then it's not doing me any good. You know what I'm saying? So I think the accountability in the police officer, in the management, we need to take a look at that to resolve some of the issues that we've been facing.
Well, Hartford does have a police accountability board, a civilian review board, but it seems to be pretty weak, and sometimes
Right.
a year will go by after incidents and they still won't have decided anything.
Right.
So I think that's very directly something to bring to the city council, people to go to the city council and say, we want a stronger community police board.
Right.
And we want the accountability they're asked for, and that when something happens, there's deadlines. The person doesn't end up on administrative leave collecting their pay for 6 months while some kind of decision just floats out there.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. The thing about that is the accountability board. Is it made up of the citizens, or is it made up of people that are not part of Hartford?
Well, I think it's people in Hartford would have to be.
Yeah.
Have to
Okay.
be people in Hartford.
Okay.
One of the other things you mentioned is like equal rights for all and all things.
Yeah.
That's just one way of saying that everyone has to get equally treated, and it's for all things. And by all things, that means the color of your skin, your creed, what you believe, your religion, your sexuality, your sex, and all things. Because we have, recently some cases, we had this baker out somewhere, went to the Supreme Court. He's got a public business, and a couple gay guys go in the door and say, we want a cake, and the guy says, no, I won't make you a cake. Now, some people say it's the guy's religious freedom not to do it because he doesn't believe in gay marriage. And I say, if you're in a private business, you're by yourself, that's fine. But no, you opened your door. You got a license to be a baker from the city or from the state, and you opened your door to the public.
Right.
These two guys, whether you like them or not, whether you like what they're doing or not, they're just as much a member of the public as anybody else. And you've got to open your door to everyone.
Right.
And
And
treat
they just want a
everyone
cake.
equally,
Yeah.
not under the law, but also we have to treat each other civilly, equally, and not.
Right.
And I ran across one example that the state's doing, and I've already contacted my state rep, and I'll ask others to do so too. Senator Bai. I was out at UConn Dental School, and it turns out they're allowing men, to refuse service from a female dentist based on their religious beliefs that they shouldn't be that close to a female or something.
Wow.
Now people will scream, oh, religious freedom. No, this is not religious freedom. This is saying, I'm going to set myself apart somehow, and I'm not going to be part of society. I'm going to hold my own beliefs very narrowly and tell you how I'll interact with society. And it has to be, we all have to agree in general how we're going to be interacting. Because so someone can go in there and say, oh, it's my religious belief that I don't want to see someone that comes from North Africa. No, I can't. North African dentist, no. Or Puerto Rican dentist, no. Or someone that is a socialist, no, can't. They have political views that I don't like, so you can't be my dentist. Or anything. Or they don't like the way they wear their hair. So it's just kind of like rank discrimination. And we have to realize the world is full of different people and with different ideas and thoughts and beliefs, and we have to figure out a way to not saying compromise our beliefs, but realize that we live in society.
Right.
We live with other people, and you just can't go picking all the time exactly what you want, because if you think you were claiming, oh, I have this special right, this person over here is going to claim I got this special right, and you're going to claim, oh, I have this special right, and they're not going to get together.
Right.
That's right.
And that's a little bit what we're doing in Hartford. Everybody's got think that they got their special right, and nothing is being done. You got the South end that's saying, hey, I want the money over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do this. I'm going to work with this person. I'm going to work with that person to get what I need. Don't worry about the North end. The North end is going to get what they're going to get, and they're going to get the crumbs off of what I have. The North end is saying, hey, give me more. Let's take and invest over here, and and we're not going to give that portion to the South end. That we got it made in the North end. The West. The East end. So that's what we've been facing, and when you look at it, nothing is being done when it comes down to our community. As you see trash, I described to you, people homeless, even people from the storm in Puerto Rico. They come here, they're homeless. They without health care, and that's what we got to talk about, health care. They don't have housing, they don't have health care, and these are individuals that worked hard in Puerto Rico, and now they're stuck here. And some of the stories that you have heard from those families from Puerto Rico, it's just, it breaks your heart. When you think about them not having food for months at a time and weeks at a time. You think about the housing that they're in. They're sleeping in tents. Their families are huddled together. You got 10 people in one apartment. You know what I'm saying? It's disheartening when you hear those stories.
Well, I think we have realized what Puerto Rico is to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It's a colony. It's a conquered territory back, not this century, but the century before,
mm-hmm.
at the Spanish-American War. The Cuban, people in Puerto Rico and people in Cuba and the islands, they wanted their freedom,
mm-hmm.
and the United States sent the military in and denied those people their freedom.
Mm-hmm.
They denied them their own country, and Puerto Rico was set up to serve the economic interests of the United States, not the interests of the Puerto Rican people.
Right.
So I think when the hurricane came, it just really laid bare the truth of it underneath,
mm-hmm.
that Puerto Ricans are second-class citizens, because they are second-class citizens by law.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a congressperson, they don't have a senator,
Mm-hmm.
they don't, the whole part of the United States in our revolution a while back was no taxation without representation. Well, they got taxed, they don't have no representation, not in Puerto Rico. So I think, I don't want to tell anybody live somewhere else on an island way away from where I live, how to choose what they want for themselves.
Right.
But I do think they should choose, either become independent or think about being a state,
right.
and not just because what's there now clearly is second class for them.
Right, yeah. And, the only thing about that is that, out of all the billions of dollars that have been spent, in America, and the trillions of dollars that has been spent in America, they seem to still come back and become better than they were. You know what I'm saying? Little by little. You know what I'm saying? You can take the biggest nation it is. If you can take the biggest, if they don't know how to spend with their money, frivolously spending, and their people spending in America, and you know what I'm saying? And you take this little old island, you think that that little old island can't make it and they can't survive. They'll come out in full force and survive better than this great, big, huge America. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to it, that's just like you get two boxers in the ring, and you think, oh, this guy, he's gonna beat this little guy, and then next thing you know, little guy hits him and he falls down. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's just like that,
Well, Puerto Rico's in tremendous financial difficulty right now, tremendous debt. It's been used to extract profit, from the people, from the resources. And if it was to go independent, I think there'd be a bill due to Puerto Rican people in general as a payment for the colonialism and for what's been taken away from them. I agree with you. I think people have left with freedom and their own devices, they'll find the will and find the way to survive and thrive.
Okay. Renewable energy, we talked a little bit about that. Let's see, equal rights for all, we talked about that. Let's talk about universal health care.
What I mean by that is a federalized system, and that basically does away with the insurance companies as the main provider of the administration of health. So what we have in this country, I say we have insurance care. We don't really have health care. We have insurance care.
So are you saying that if you have insurance, that the government will be sponsoring the insurance?
No, I say get rid of insurance.
Okay.
And go more to a system like Social Security for all.
So I mean, how would you provide health care to all of its citizens in the country if you just, how would that happen?
Doctors would be put on salary to start. So people, they put their education in, they put extra hours in and extra education, extra years of lives before earning. It's like they should be paid well. So maybe doctors get paid $200,000 a year, but they don't get $500,000 a year like a whole lot of them do. So that's, where part of where the money goes under insurance care is outrageous salaries.
Right.
A lot of the hospitals essentially are already nonprofits because there's so many Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid recipients. It's kind of, they're already sort of there in a way. And the reason why I say to go to a federal system, because the private system, the bureaucracy of that is so horrifically inefficient. The Social Security system gets dollars out to the providers that are actually providing health care much efficiently and cheaper than the insurance companies do. Like under the Affordable Health Care Act, the insurance companies can keep up to 20% of all insurance dollars in-house. What I mean by that is, you pay the insurance premium, say Connecticut or Anthem or any one of these, of $100 of the premium, okay? $20 of that money will never go out to pay for any health care. It will cover profit, overhead, employees' salaries, paperwork, billing. And then you have a whole other section of money that it costs the doctors a lot of money to be able to deal with the insurance company. The doctors have to have separate people on staff just to deal with the insurance companies. They have all different plans. So a patient comes in the door, they don't know what kind of coverage they have. They gotta figure that all out. And then the insurance companies will deny care also. So the doctor's gotta get on the phone and spend a whole lot more time trying to get care for their patients.
Wow. We got about 1 minute left in the programming. Well, Tom, running for Congress. If you want more information on Tom for Congress, you can go to tomforcongress.org. Tom McCormick is the Connecticut First, all right? And get more information on Tom. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We would love to have you and again and to talk on these needed subjects in our community. Hartford, we'll see you next time.